all the characters, and Isabella lived during the chapter 1. Now we're on to chapter 2, Hannah's chapter, and we're going to see how exactly we can have Hanna live, and furthermore, not only live, but get as much affection with all the characters as we possibly can. Now, I have a skip on, so we're just going to be going through all the choices, and then the dialogue that we haven't seen yet, I'll show it and read it. But again, I'm expecting that if you're watching this, you've seen my Death Run playthrough, where I go through all the dialogue and I read it all out. So, we're just going to go through here, and I'll show you all the choices. Okay, so the first choice, remain silent or defend myself. Now, remaining silent really gives us hit points for Luke. We don't want to do that. We don't want to hurt our relationship with Luke, so we're going to defend myself.
Yes, I am very happy,
and
Luke.
As you can see,
because
our
for once
relationship
in a
with Luke
very
goes up.
long time, we are doing what.
Next, free up my schedule or question the need for a meeting. You know, which one seems the nicest, and that's freeing up my schedule.
But I get.
And as you can see, Marianne's points go up. Then what should I say? You'll be a great father, or apologize for bringing it up. Now, apologize for bringing it up is the coward choice. And Luke doesn't like cowards, so we're gonna tell him he's gonna be a great father.
Kylie likes you well enough.
Continue teasing or stop it with Zach. Again, teasing him. He's not really a fan of it, and I'm relatively sure that he wants us to stop it. So we're gonna stop it.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
Tell the truth or tell a little lie. Telling the truth gets us into hot water, so as you can see with Luke,
I was just tending to the garden, sweetie.
So that goes up. Now here we are, open the hatch or call them out. And when I streamed this last time and I went through the whole thing, we actually showed both, and that's on my YouTube channel at YCLEPED. Beclupted. Both the options, the one where she's possessed when we open the hatch versus calling them out, and then when we called her out, we don't actually run into her, but the reason why we got the ending where she died is because her affection points with Luke were so low. But we're going to call her out now, and because we have high affection points with Luke, she's going to live. So we're going to knock 3 times, and we're going to go to classic skip mode, so we can skip through and not miss anything, any important dialogue. Because there is actually some dialogue here that we haven't seen. We want Marianne to be honest, because that gives us the
Be
best
honest with
affection
me,
points.
Marianne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
We're skipping through to the party, where Luke comes in, makes his grand entrance. We've seen all this dialogue already. Skipping through. Alright.
Look at her! Does she look like she wants a baby? Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
It is now that Johannes returns with security along with the concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man.
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's right. There's no way that what Rochelle says is the truth. What she says doesn't match up. I know Luke. If such a scandalous meeting are to be arranged, he won't do it in such an exposed place, especially not near his precious flowers. And he definitely won't promise responsibility over a child unless it can be helped. Besides, Luke will never, You'll never go so far as to sleep with another woman, right? Yeah, about that. Dots. Okay, fine, who am I kidding? If I am to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat with a bit of temptation and a bit of alcohol, he just might. And doesn't that just make my blood boil to even think of the slightest possibility of infidelity? He isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young hotshot bachelor. It starts to make me think. Alright, and this is actually a very big choice here. Let me see. Which one is better? Break is needed is a negative for Luke. We want to work for the happy ending. Becky's words are still fresh in my mind, and I can't help but think that that girl, plucky woman she is, has a point. If I love Luke, I'll have to fight for him, don't I? So far, I've been doing nothing and sitting on my behind, hoping it'll fix itself. This whole mess definitely isn't going to fix itself. How dare that woman try to drag her name and her relationship through the mud with her lies? And at my own party! Determination fires me up as I take a step forward into the middle of the fray. All the while she has been screaming. I signal for security to stop, and I can already feel the glow on my face as I stare into hers. She wilts as soon as she sees me. She starts to grow anxious, and her protests die down. I can see her as her haughty, angry expression turns into a horrified realization. Rightfully so, she should be scared. What is that thing that they say again? Never wake a sleeping dragon? They often think that Luke is the one in charge, that he is the one to be feared and appeased. They think me as only the pretty wife. They forget that I am just as capable, just as worthy of respect.
I invite you, my friend, into my house on a day of merriment, and you insult my name and accuse my husband of infidelity. What have I ever done to make you treat us with such disrespect? You are no longer welcome in any of our estates, our properties, and our businesses. And we will no longer patronize yours. Now, escort the girl and make sure she isn't standing even an inch within our grounds.
She looks devastated. Reasonable. This does make her into a pariah, doesn't it? I should feel concerned, but I can't even find an inkling of mercy within me. I don't know what her plan was. I don't know what she wanted to make out of this. The money? Luke? It doesn't matter what she wanted.
You won't show your face to me ever again if you know what is good for you, Rochelle. Take her away.
And as you can see, our status with Luke went up. The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is so set that one can practically hear a pin drop. They're worried and almost feel for glances from some of the guests, but they all know this is well within my right. She is the one who started this whole dilemma. It just so happens that I'm the one ending it. As long as everyone hold their tongue and don't interfere, none of the consequences matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with a different shine in his eyes. It almost seems as if he's proud of what I've done, and that spurs me on more than anything. Nonetheless, I still act upset, but because this does not change what just happened, and he still has a lot to answer to. Because even if that one is lying, there is always an inkling of truth in every lie. So when I turn on him, to say that the shock he displays brings me gratification is an understatement. Of course, there is no reason to make a husband and wife spat into a public spectacle. Some privacy will generate the least number of headaches and complications. Everyone is still too far busy in the ballroom, and most of the staff are still in the kitchen. A sharp glance at anyone who will go through the doors is all it takes to them to make their treat. And the most private we can get without me dragging Luke all the way to our bedroom is the foyer.
And you, we are going to talk about this, Lucille Mitchell-Wright. Not now, but we will talk about this.
Right! I swear that is not my child, no matter what that woman says. Hanna, darling, you believe me, don't you?
I believe that it isn't your child.
I don't believe you.
But you never said that you did not cheat on me with her. We'll have a talk about that tomorrow, among other things.
What for? What other things?
About us, Luke. This isn't right, this doubting each other and not talking. That's why we'll talk. If anyone needs me, I'll be in our room. I'm in no mood to be talking with anyone about anything. Especially nosy baggers who have no business with any of it.
Should I be worried? Scared? Because you know threats do not work with me, Hanna.
You should be worried and scared because she's going to take your head off if you don't shut up.
None of those. You should know I'm not your enemy, Luke. I need rest. That's all.
Of course, you must be so tired. You've earned some peace. I'll take over the party from here.
Good night, love.
Good night, Buttercup.
Sometimes I forget that leaving Luke to handle a party is a horrible idea. And it's now Saturday. and nothing has gone wrong completely. Luke does not want to murder us when he gets home from work today. He does not want to slit our throat, and he does not want to stab us, which is good. And we're not going to be possessed either. Because come morning, the dining hall is a mess with a few of his drunk friends sleeping about. Oh gosh. At least a dozen men and women are scattered about, sleeping like they are in alcohol-induced comas. Even Officer Lee is there, sleeping off the effects and still clutching a bottle of a 1998 Jumilla. No doubt Luke has served some of his stores in absinthe. Oh, great. Judging by the faint burnt smell, they had set fire to the latter too. Neu Bohemian. There is only so much I can tolerate as we have Johannes retrieve every single one and get them a cab. And they are everywhere, at the table, on it, underneath it, and some are even in the kitchen.
Nap time is over, Kinder. Time to go.
And oh dear, it is this Pissar valet, even though he is a man of silent fury. And although it is a little treat to hear him utter curses in German from the other room. I imagine Luke will be amused as well if it isn't his guests that are being thrown out. Instead, he's brooding in his seat, rolling a stalk of daffodil in between his fingers.
He's energetic. And you aren't drunk. That, or you are getting better with handling your hangovers without your dog hairs. Should I be looking out the window to see if the sky has turned red and if pigs have started to fly?
I am unfortunately completely sober, Hanna.
And how does it feel not being hungover?
Still miserable.
It'll get better.
Or so they say. You wanted to talk about something?
You know, for once, I wish you were hungover. Maybe this isn't the best time for this talk.
No, please. I do not like loose ends. And this is a bloody ugly loose end.
Then, first things first. I want you to be honest with me. Just between the two of us. Without others to impress. Without people listening in. Just you and me.
Did you or did you not sleep with Rochelle and got her pregnant?
Him not showing up in most of the gatherings I've hosted in the past is nothing new, of course. The one I've had last week is no different. It's merely another thing I've gotten used to between us after things turned sour. But after Rochelle's outburst last night, I won't deny feeling the disappointment, the betrayal. What's done is done, however, though at the very least I still want to hear the truth from him.
She made me meet with her the night of your party, but I swear, I only agreed to go so that I could tell her I wasn't having none of it. It isn't my baby. I don't even think it's Lee's. Poor bloke. I mean, I probably slept with her once. We were probably incredibly drunk, but that would have been a long time ago before she was preggo.
Are you sure, Luke? You're not making anything up or leaving anything out?
Of course not. I swear it on my mother's grave.
He swears it as he says, as he hands me the flower with such tenderness, and I believe him.
Well, if that's all you wanted to talk about, you shouldn't have made me worry.
For the sake of my sanity and for the sake of our marriage, I'll pretend that you never said any of that. Are you sure you aren't drunk now?
Haven't had a single drop and hating it.
Would you like something to drink? Because I'm not done. I have something else to tell you.
No thanks. Maybe I will after this little talk you wanted to have. I already told you, and you already said you believe me that the brat isn't my child. I already spilled that I might have had drunken sex with her once, and you wish to wipe that off your memory. So do we have anything else to talk about? Because have at it, I'm all ears.
You're pretty miffed for someone who just admitted to his wife that he's cheated.
And you're stalling. I can tell that incident has you shaken up. So why don't you just spit it out and get this all over?
I'm pregnant.
What? Come again?
You heard me.
You've got to be kidding, right? This must be some kind of joke. Are you taking the piss at me? Because woman, I don't need a second fake pregnancy.
Instead of answering, however, I stay silent and let the matter of the fact sink into his head. His face heats up for a moment before he goes pale. He raises a hand in the hopes of asking for a drink, but the morning staff are still busy evicting the last of his inebriated companions. And he doesn't even bother to bark out orders as if he's lost his very voice. Actually, he's on the very urge of hyperventilating.
This is Hanna, darling. I need some air. How long have you been?
3 months. And the twins. Although we don't know yet if they're a boy or a girl or both.
Good God! Twins! I'm going to be a father to 2 tiny babies! Breathe, Luke! Breathe!
Goodness, Luke, I'm the one who's pregnant here, not you.
Now don't judge me!
Oh gosh. A scream cuts off my amusement, and without thinking, Luke and I rush to the foyer. There stands a crazed-looking Chief Inspector, thrashing about as he tries to make it up to the stairs while Johannes holds him back.
What is going on here?
Und tschüss. All the Schweinehunde must leave, including you, Chef Inspector. This one is very problematic and will not leave.
No, you can't make me leave. I need to stay here for her. I need to help her.
Oh boy.
Oh, Rochelle? She's probably already at home, dearie. Or she might have already gone and skipped town. Who knows?
Oh, for the love of... There's no point talking logic in him. Lee, go home. You're drunk.
Can't you hear her crying? She was crying, just weeping and in so much pain last night. I couldn't help her. Drunk, sobbing bastard that I am, but my help. She needs my help. Tell your fucking stupid lapdog to let go of me, Luke, or I'm gonna knock him down and I'm gonna knock the two of you down too.
Language! I've already dealt with your wife, so don't make me deal with you, Lee. Or I swear I'll...
Hanna, enough. Don't stress yourself over him. It'll be bad for the twins. So go back to your breakfast and let me handle this. Okay?
Are you sure?
Why wouldn't I be? Now, go ahead and do something less stressful.
Go ahead. And do nothing. There isn't much to do, it seems, whenever I step up to the plate and try to take responsibility for something. Perhaps because everything is already being handled by someone hired specifically for that job. And with Johannes overseeing the staff and Luke handling everything else as a whole, that doesn't leave much for me. I can't even take the job of delegation because all it takes is a word to one of the senior staff and everything will be taken from me. Moving in here a few days ago may have very well been the chore that took most of the effort from me. And that didn't take any real effort at all.
Yes, Hanna, go buy a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Good idea. Great plan.
There's no dishes to set aside and busy myself with. Any mess left behind now is nearly non-existent. To sit on the counter while eating cake is supposed to be my next plan. Alas, there isn't even one to finish off, and I don't really know what brought me to the kitchens in the first place. It's not like I'm craving anything else, nor do I have any unfinished business left here. But there's a calling to this room. Speaking of calling, why not just do that? Might as well, since I have nothing else to do. At least that will require some effort on my part. With how cut off from the rest of Luxembourg this mansion is, and with how long it was abandoned before we moved in, having a landline is out of the question. The solution is supposed to be our mobiles, though it isn't much considering how spotting the signal is in the area. It'll take a bit of maneuvering to even get a single bar here as it is. It takes a bit, just as I said it would. I have to park my rear in one of the coal drawers, but that suits me just fine. Another matter that needs my effort is who to call. She, who must not be named, is certainly off the list. That doesn't leave much in the category of close friends who attended the party, along with the category of anyone else who is awake at this early hour. Let me guess, she's gonna call Zach. But soon enough, I manage the call goes
Hello,
through.
Rebecca Gales here.
Oh, she calls Becky. Okay.
Who's this?
Good morning, Becky.
Hannah? Oh, wait, how did you get my number?
You responded to your RSVP through the phone. It's all saved in here, of course. I thought I'd like to say hi and make plans and get together sometime. Also, I'd love to hear news about your mother and father and about you, my dear. Oh, I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, you're good. It's sports day at school today, so I was just prepping for that.
Figures that you'd be a teacher as well. I'm sure your students must absolutely adore you.
Don't know about that.
Mathematics?
History, actually. Anyway, it's real nice to know you've got my number. I was going to ask for yours because Mom wanted to keep in touch.
You could have asked, silly girl. I would have gladly given it to you.
Couldn't, though, because, well, the thing that happened. But really am sorry, though. I gotta run. School, schedule, stuff. Are there anything else you want to say? Don't want to use the mobile while driving.
Oh, of course, of course. I shouldn't keep you. But I wanted to thank you for your company yesterday.
Not a problem.
And for that other thing as well.
What for now?
For what you said to me. With what had happened. It's been very helpful in...
The call starts to go static, much to my frustration. A strange clicking noise drowns out most of her words, too. I doubt she can even understand what I'm saying. And the line completely dies. I can feel a headache coming along. It's just building up, starting from a light throbbing on one side of my head. The static is gone, and that helps a lot. There's still that incessant, horrible clicking again and again and again. Which doesn't make sense. The mobile's turned off, isn't it? And if it isn't coming from the phone, then where? Looking about, I can't help but let my eyes be drawn to the hatch leading into the wine cellar once more. That's when the clicking stops and I can hear that crying, that familiar crying from before. What happened the other day when I was told that nobody should have been down there? I tried to forget it because of how it unsettled me so. One can hardly do that when I'm looking at the very thing I'm trying to forget. Somebody's crying down there again, but if I leave it alone, it simply won't stop bothering me for the rest of the day. They might have forgotten to lock it with the party going
This
on.
again! If somebody is pulling my leg, I will not be happy!
Don't open it. Oh, shit. True enough, all it takes is a bit of a pull to open the hatch. As I look down to the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. It isn't just the sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but it's also the darkness. It's suffocating, and as I look down at it, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. The cries drown beneath the shrieks that start echoing in my head, high and shrill, like nails being dragged across the chalkboard. They're all screaming, shouting at me, and I can just feel their rage. Help me. She wants to drown me, drag me down, and crush me into the very depths of darkness until there's nothing left of me. The deep abyss waits for me, for my death. They're all calling for it. This is a nightmare. There's a rope around my neck, and I can feel the rest of me being torn apart, and they're still screaming and screaming. Though it's not my voice that escapes my lips. It claws through, climbing up and forcing my way up my throat like a putrid vial. I choke and gag, yet I scream and shriek all at the same time. And I'm me, but not me. This again. It pushes me down to my knees before I'm prone and vulnerable on my stomach. It makes me tumble, and I can just feel my whole body seizing, writhing on the floor. Everything and nothing hurts. It feels like I'm on the verge of death, and if I'm not dying, I nearly wish I actually am.
Hanna? Hanna, what is going on in here? Why are you?
Prince!
Seeing Luke, something snaps back, and I'm able to take a gasp of air of my own volition. For the first time in what felt like centuries, I would have rejoiced and cried for his name if the pain did still not rock my body. Instead, all I can do is stare listlessly as he comes to my side and lifts me up, cradling me in his arms. He tries to get me on my feet, perhaps to take me out of here. But all he's able to do is to get me to sit, make sure I'm not thrashing on the floor. I can still feel my muscles spasm, limbs jerking like a puppet's on string. Luke holds me tight and keeps me still so that I do not hurt myself anymore. Whatever it is that happened, it has my mind feeling frayed and battered. Eventually, the pain dies down into a dull ache, and my own tongue stops feeling like cotton. It is only now that I can feel the wetness on my cheeks, tears streaking down my face. Coughing racks my body, now that I don't feel like choking. And it just all feels so horrible, but I don't care. I don't care.
Please,
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hanna. You're safe now.
Thoughts. And that's the end of Hanna's chapter, and Hanna has lived. Hanna is alright. And more importantly, she is on her good route path. So, again, thanks for tuning out to Hanna's playthrough of the letter and her good run. And when we next pick up, we'll be on to Zach's good run. Thanks again.